Okay. And welcome to another edition of Off the Deep End. I'm your host, Emmy. We are having yet another evening with Ivan Teller from ivanteller.com and his YouTube channel, famous YouTube channel, by the way, Ivan Teller. And he is an ET channeler extraordinaire. Tonight we will be having a special edition of the evening with Ivan because tonight he will be contacting beings who are in touch with the Galactic Federation of Light. The Galactic Federation of Light has very special messages that they would like to get out to certain persons and companies who are embarking or working on embarking on space exploration. And this is concerning to them because they are not familiar with these private companies. They are more familiar with our governments. Another thing is that I believe that some of these companies will be chartering civilians. So that is going to be a concern as well, amongst other things. But we'll be discussing those as well. Real quickly about the Galactic Federation of Light. For those who are not familiar with who they are, the Galactic Federation of Light, they are here to assist us during our ascension process to keep away dark forces while this is happening. The Earth apparently has been quarantined by the Galactic Federation of Light in order to curb the activities of the dark forces during this time. This quarantine will be removed once the dark forces have been vanquished. The Galactic Federation of Light, they are similar to the United Federation of Planets as seen on Star Trek. And the Galactic Federation of Light is exclusively ETs at this time. However, once we have properly ascended, we will be part of that federation as well. So, without further ado, welcome Ivan. Ivan, welcome. He's actually grounding, so I'm not going to bother him too much.
Okay, I'm right. Yeah, hello. Good evening.
Hello. Thank you, Ivan, for doing this interview with me. I'm very excited.
Yes. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, hopefully the people who need to listen to this will listen to this and apply it, you know. I'm positive.
Yes.
And I hope the beings on the other side are supportive and positive as well.
Yeah, no Men in Black here, hopefully. Well, they're probably here, but it's all good. Positive.
Hopefully positive information.
Positive Men in Black. The good kind, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
very excited.
Yeah. I feel, Nathaniel is the tall blonde Nordic. These are the Black projects, so it had to come through. So, if you're ready, I can bring him through.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Yeah, just need a couple seconds to a minute to let him through. So.
Okay.
All right. Much love.
Stand by. And just remind our listeners that we are having an evening with Ivan Teller. From ivanteller.com, and right now he's connecting and he will be channeling a Nordic being named Nathaniel, who will be transmitting information about the Galactic Federation of Light.
Greetings, I'm Nathaniel. Blessings.
Greetings, Nathaniel. Welcome to Off the Deep End.
Yes, there's many questions here. I understand. There's some disinformation, but that is fine as long as it takes you to the right place. As for realizing there's much going on in your governments that are not being too honest with you, but either way, the truth will eventually find you. Of course, there's always much fear with all this, but no need for that, though.
Yes, unfortunately, we've had decades upon decades of misinformation about what ETs are like and what their intentions. So I'm looking forward to what you have to say to clarify that, and then also if we can discuss information regarding the concerns of the Galactic Federation of Light and space travel.
One moment. Yes, there's much going on as for... One moment. There is much concerns, especially with these... I'll just go ahead and... Your Jeff Bezos and his apparitions that he's creating to go to Mars. There is much concern around him. As for your SpaceX, there's no concern there anymore because that seems to be halted for some time. But we are much concerned of this other one that is building up to ask for space travel, which is probably best not for him to go into that area because it is restricted airspace, but it seems like he's going about it anyway. He has been warned many times not to go through this. Also, your Elon Musk has been warned also. It's just not a place for commercial travel yet. There is also your Boeing, which is actually part of your shadow elites. You can say it's the public version of your CIA, but as for air travel. So that is where they are allowed to and others are not allowed to. So they will go by the rules because they're doing what they're being told also. Your Bazos, no. Which is, I give them kudos for trying, but there's going to be efforts to keep them from going to Mars. I think it's a couple of years ahead. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. As for launch with this Bazos's, I do not have the name of his operation, but there is concern, mostly with that one. The other one, not so much anymore. That has been held back now. And even funding has been held back. But there is worry. Yes, because Mars is still primitive. As for Earth connecting to it, it is not a place for Earthlings at this time. Your elites are there. They do not want humanity getting involved with that. And also there is much concern as for your Earth. Concern on your Earth, not to worry about your Mars at this time. But it seems like some are just not willing to listen to that. And to add, what happened with SpaceX was a few beings involved with it. It was not malevolent, but the few beings were preventing further explorations. That explosion that happened recently, there was several groups around that. Yael, Reptilian, but mostly Yael was involved with that, but there was other beings present during that. Not to cause harm to anyone, no one was harmed, but to keep these explorations halted for some time until we understand what to do with them. But that will keep them busy for some time. And they are aware there is an extraterrestrial presence there. They've already mentioned it. They don't understand it, but they know.
Do you believe that it's just wonderment that drives them to want to go to visit Mars? Of course, even though they know that they're going to be encountered with beings that they do not understand yet.
Yes, if they
have encountered.
First off, we don't see them being too successful because of the technology is not fully available for them at this time. But still, is to deter them. Once they do reach Mars, they will not see them, but there will be much reptilian energy there. To greet them, maybe not the most friendliest beings. There's also much insectoid energies there. 6 foot tall mantis are there, so
they'll basically be the welcoming and de-welcoming committee.
Exactly. But we do not
That's
see
good.
them having a full success as for traveling to Mars. The technology isn't fully there yet, as judged by our energies of the energies
Oh,
of
okay.
what's going on at this time. But
Now with
they are defying what they are been told not to go there, but they continue to defy those requests. Yes, go ahead, please.
and how is this communication being carried out? Is it just it's the government, or are
Yes.
there other entities mainly, and then they're just doing whatever they want anyways?
There's two parts of government. There's your public government that says go for it, and their private government that is there, but they're not entirely sure where they came from. They do not say they're with the shadow government. They do not have it tattooed on their shirts. But they do come from a government entity, and they do express their concerns. Of course, they're not going to say where they're from, of course, but that is your true shadow. They have met them. Even your MIB has been there also.
Right. That's interesting. And with Jeff Bezos, what technologies did he use did he teleport himself? What impact has his connection or his attempted connections made on the other side?
Well, his desire to go to Mars. As for teleport, you do not see that. At least I am not familiar with it. It's just a childhood need for going there. As far as I can tell, I mean, by the energies. It just well, of course, he's very connected to his galactic self also. He's not fully familiar with it, does not fully understand it, but he has that many lifetimes there. And that is giving him another reason to go there also.
Oh. Did he discover that he had lifetimes here with the assistance, or it's just primal, that urge, spiritual urge?
Yes. It just produced. I do not see him fully understanding it, but he does know there's more going on within himself. He does see a familiarity with Mars and other planets. He's been to many of them. He's had many incarnations on all these worlds. So wishing to connect to them. He is very Arcturian, but also quite Zeta as for his technology know-how, as for trying things out, let's put it that, as for innovation. Much of that is the Zeta part of him, but there's much Arcturian there also. You can say that's so to keep them together from going insane. He says by our observations.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was just going to ask, with the description you made of him, it seems like he'd be a perfect person to be out in Mars. He just wants to hang out with his brothers and sisters and
he's your typical
have
Martian.
A nice time.
Yes.
Have a hug.
Yes, he's your typical Martian, more than your Elon Musk. Elon Musk is more of a Palladian, but he is realizing his ancient connections. He's not fully aware, but he does know there's much more going on than he is being told. And he wished to also open that gap also to alien life. And that is giving some, of course, there's no way for him to fully prove it, but he is wished to go there, let's put it that way. He's unable to, but he wished to connect to extraterrestrial life. And that does bring some nervousness, but good luck with that one. Because most likely it's not going to happen. But yes, in some circles, he is seen as a crazy person, I believe. But no different than this group.
He'd be perfect in our group. So
yes, exactly.
So do you think that the positive thing to do in this situation is to send him this transmission and just kind of bring him in the fold?
That would be fine, of course.
How do you think he will receive this?
It is unknown at this time if he'll see it at all. That is up to him.
Okay.
That's up to the people around him. If they allow him to, it's a possibility.
Okay. Well, I have a couple of questions for you, especially since considering the way this information came to me. Apparently, there are people who have been experiencing multiple out-of-body experiences where they're being transported to the to meetings with the Galactic Federation of Light.
Yes.
And apparently the space travel by these private companies is a big concern from them.
Yes.
And you've expressed the concerns that they have. However, a lot of these seem pretty straightforward. Yes, you know, they shouldn't embark where they shouldn't belong. Okay, you know. But is there more to the story?
Well, first off, they do not understand their own world.
Mm-hmm.
And to go out, it is, yes, understandable why you would want to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And even for Elon, it does feel like he just feel like life will be better somewhere else. But
Mm-hmm.
also to build, not to have money, but the money does not matter to him, but to create, to open up humanity. To nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But humanity is not ready, as you can tell, because it's still at war with each other at this time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's to take this drama and put it on another world is not very popular.
Mm-hmm.
Is that once this world becomes more healed and more together as a people, that would make more sense to go off to other worlds, of course, to share your love. Instead of here, it is sharing more of its conflict, which is not needed. And it already does that with the Sacred Space programs already, with the elites. But the elites know what they're doing. These that are doing this do not know what they're doing. And it's always a small group that goes to other worlds. And of course, this happens with your shadow governments. But then they know how to respect other beings also. And they do take other humans there also. That is very true.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, it is Mars is not. It should not be on the table as for exploration.
Mm-hmm.
The healing of humanity should be the main one at this time, because it is on its way. But in some ways, this is a way of letting humanity aware of alien life in some regard. But that does not help it heal. Knowing about alien life does not help it clear out the negativity.
I imagine perhaps what it does, it just kind of helps people just connect or be not familiar, but comfortable with the idea that there are, you know, benevolent ET beings out there that do have positive intentions. And yes, we're a big, happy family. We should get to know each other. Yeah.
Yes, that will be explored once your humanity finally gets along with each other, especially with this political climate. We do see it healing eventually. In the next couple of years, it will get better. But at this time, it's quite hostile. It is also letting go of the old ways also. As this Trump is becoming very honest, saying things he really shouldn't be saying, but still, it puts information out there that where many candidates are very hushed on. So, yes, it might be touchy subjects, but at least he's mentioning this too. And that where alien information will come with that also, as he continues to talk his mouth off, you could say.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not all bad, but yes, it seems that way, but some things need to be said, so it is quite curious. And it is a human doing this, which is good. You don't need a walk-in alien to do this. But of course, a walk-in will not be that way. We're executing it that way. But either way, that is still the right way to go. The more honesty, yes, not a perfect person, nobody is. But the more honest these candidates become, the better your humanity will become also. And that is what is much needed. So yes, like disclosure is one, but also humanity must realize the darkness it lives with can be let go of also. And your news can finally chill out and become more friendly to each other instead of it's just a propaganda machine.
Yes, that's what it seems like. That
yes.
I originally thought that Donald Trump was running because he was paid opposition. Maybe it was in another timeline because he was just saying all the things that you really shouldn't say, because it's not like men are the only people voting. It's not like Caucasian men are the only people voting. I will give him hats off because he does, you know, care about the LGBT community, you know, but, you know, he's just because he's been saying a lot of divisive things, And although I applaud his honesty, it's more than Caucasian men that are voting in this election.
Yes, well,
he's not the only one who's gotten that wrong.
Yes, yes, he is not perfect. But one thing we do see with him is that at least he's trying to be honest, and the honesty can be brutal. But he's living in brutal times. You all are.
Yeah.
So that is one thing.
I do appreciate his honesty
and
his history of caring about our finances and things like that.
Yes, even if the honesty is not not heard very well, it's like, oh, that hurts hearing that. Of course, he's not perfect. Yes, he's still chauvinist. Yes, but nobody's perfect. Especially JFK was not perfect either, but he does not have the flaws of him, that's for sure. JFK had much addiction issues, as I believe you know now.
Yeah, I understand Clinton did too.
Yes. Was he understand the shadiness of that one? Was lie after lie, at least with this one. It is truth. And that is with your Hillary still is your typical politician, at least with Trump as being a non-typical one, by being a little bit too honest, maybe not exactly loved, but at least you know he might not. It depends on. We see many different timelines. But for the most part, we do see him being safe.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. That's my concern, because somehow I think that, like, if he does get elected, he will be the guy who will rock the establishment, and he's not gonna basically take orders easily.
Yes, you are correct. We do see him being safe in all this. He is well protected. It is much needed. He's going, to say many things that need to be said and change the government, turn it upside down, you could say. And let's see, and I understand the positive elites are working with him. Yes, he might not be the most favorite person, but we need someone to toot their horn every once in a while. So you'd be surprised what's going on there. It's not a psyop, but it is much needed, because the old ways of politics is being changed, and you're seeing it in front of you.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I've never seen debates like that before. Nobody's neatly standing behind their podium, and it's just it's like a fight to the death. It looks like.
But we also see a feature. Now, I understand we see many different timelines of a more positive political climate as it becomes more honest, and it also forces humanity to become more honest. Also, but also, it still has much to learn about letting bygones be bygones and bringing more positivity into their environment. It's very difficult to do that because of what is going on. As for chemicals that are in your air, in your food, they're blinding humanity, which is quite understandable. But as for the Mars project, and many understand, what is going on is much of this space program is part of the Palladians. Blue Palladian energies are involved with it. There are other extraterrestrials, but right now it seems to be the Blue Palladians are very much in charge. Of course, they are with the Galactic Federation of Light. They do work with your shadow governments. But as for keeping peace among different worlds, for exploration, your elites do have a small space program where they do travel to other worlds and do what they wish. But understand they go by the rules of those worlds also, and they're usually at a higher density also. And they also teach beings how to raise their vibration. They can go to a human and help them raise their vibration. So that means they become more galactic. They know how to lower it. They know how to lower it. You see that on your world.
Yeah.
That is everywhere. But they do also know how to raise it also. They know what environment to put you in. They know how everything works, how to tune you. Let's put it that way. This is where you hear about humans on other worlds, yes, but they still go by the rules of the world. And when we see this space program, they're not going to be going by the rules of those worlds because they do not understand. But we do not see the technologies fully there either to travel from here to Mars either. It's not fully there. So, but it still brings much. It will be eventually, but still humanity is not ready for that type of visitation. But
I understand. Yes, sorry. I understand that Barack Obama, when he was a child, I guess, was involved in some kind of space teleportation program. uh,
Who does I remember though?
there was a physicist or something like that that made it on the Colbert Report, a TV show, just talking about his experience with Barack Obama when
Yes.
they were younger, and then
Yes.
they used him for that, some Navy program.
Yes, your Obama is part of the elite system. Yes, the political elite system. It is like a frat party for elites. They're not sure who's going to run for president. They do have some ideas. What they do when they're young, they get prep. They always have prepping of different candidates. It does switch around, but yes, he was part of that pool. Yes.
Oh, that's very interesting.
But as for your George Bush, he was definitely their man. George W. No matter what, they were going to make sure that he won every election. No matter about changing elections. Yes, your Al Gore is most likely going to be the winner of that one, but they made sure that they wanted to also let humanity know who was in charge also. They could have done that easier, but they didn't really care. They wanted to let you know changes here. Like, it's just like your Kennedy. It's like, we are your rulers, basically. And they give signs of that. And they're well aware of your 9/11 before it occurred, of course, also.
Yeah, I understand that was planned like a long time ago, that these things get planned. There's their long-range planning calendar that sometimes goes out like, I don't know, I'd like to say early century, I don't know. And I understand the NASA program, those talks and arrangements started with Russia during or after World War I.
Yes, that is true. It is much that what is much change after 9/11. As for, we do not see another one occurring like that. Much of the light has been moved in ever since then to prevent another attack like that. But there were many timelines where you did have several attacks after that. So many that were predicting similar attacks we're seeing correctly, but these are different timelines and not run into your timeline. They were prevented. And we do see that continuing on. Now that still goes on where other 9/11s are still in different timelines, yes, but we do not see you running into any of those. Some might have dreams, worry, especially your World War III. There was a timeline, it is past, long past, where it does start at World War III. I believe with Russia, actually.
Yeah.
But that has been passed. But there's always a new one to come about, but nothing to worry about.
That's good. So I already asked the questions about the Galactic Federation of Light. They're having a lot of meetings with Earthlings.
Yes.
And for whatever different purposes. I understand that, I've had experienced many out-of-body experiences, and I end up hanging out with the Galactic Federation of Light. So one of the reasons I understand was to, I'm having these meetings, was to talk about these space travel. So I was wondering if there's any other details that they wanted me to know about so that I can talk about that more, or details other people should know about that don't exactly recall their meetings with the Galactic Federation of Light.
All beings on this earth have a connection with a Galactic Federation of Light. They all connect. They all understand it's all a peaceful, you all connect in astral. It's a very peaceful visitation. Remember, in astral, you all know who you are. In this reality, you can call it a matrix if you would like. It's a controlled matrix if you need to label it. And so you go into astral, you're in your real galactic body in this spiritual form, and you do connect to the Galactic Federation of Light. Even those that are fast asleep and have no business awakening to alien energies, they also go into this because they realize they have many lessons to learn, and their human body vessel is not ready for this, but they still connect. As for the connection, what happens? Yes, you go to many meetings, but understand it's not like it's a meeting of love. It's not a meeting of, just like you have in your world, where it's like
your board meetings.
10 hours of boredom, yes.
Yeah.
It is a friendly visitation with family, and understand this family, some of them do look very strange. Some are green Palladians, blue Palladians. Some have a fish type features of their face. Yes, it is very fantasy-like. But why do you think it's in your entertainment? Where else do you think all this comes from? But as for your visitation, though, it is, you are getting your updates there as for your place of what is happening, the vibration of the world. What it is that humanity is steering itself into the direction it wishes to go into. And right now we do see it go into more of a more spiritual awareness. And so the alien energies is going to dip itself into your reality, but it's going to be a slow, very slow process. And some are working on their own timelines if they wish to connect with that or not. And as for the dangers of Mars, now understand your Elon Musk is involved with this, your Bazos is involved with this, and he is kind of persistent. He is like, I don't care, I'm going to do whatever I want. It's like, I say, that's fine, but you understand if you do that, something's going to happen. We can't allow that yet. It's just like while we are not allowed to be involved with Earth is not really allowed to connect to other worlds, at least not in the way that they are doing it. Your elites understand this is a small group, so this is different. They know what the rules are. Humanity does not. And they're at a higher vibration also, the ones that are involved with this. And they go by strict rules. They made actually a deal with the Federation of Light also. But they also feel like Mars is part of Earth, so that's another reason. But your Elon Musk is not involved with that. He's not. It is still not part of this version of human. Your shadow governments are there often, but they have made deals with your Mars and other worlds. They are going by the rules, so they know exactly what they're doing. But as for your humanity, it is slowly going into more of a galactic awakening process, but it will, yes, be very slow because it's hard to move out of the mindset that it is in currently. There will be sightings as usual, but that is not enough to awaken humanity. Channelings will help, but everyone has their own process, and they'll have their own awakening process, such as a death in the family will arise their own spirit guides. Everyone has their own way of awakening. Either illness within the body, but all they have is spirit to connect to because they no longer have anything, or a hurricane situation also. So there's many things. It's different for everyone, so to go into that exact process. But when many connect to the Galactic Federation of Light, they do see themselves, some on a starship, some on a star base, some on another planet. But you can visit your friends. And usually it is for a couple hours, but for your world it's a few seconds. It is not very long. And you just, now many do several things in astral, but as for connecting to with the federations, as for the Earth timeline, what is going on, usually that is it is a productive talk about. Understand, even in your daily lives, the things that you choose to do have to do with changing your timeline. Meaning, if you're going to the store and talking to your friends, you're still moving your timeline, and you're moving in a way where you can move away from this economic catastrophe. And for your 9/11, you'd be surprised. The little things, because the way the mind is, the vibration does move. It's like, I don't need that in my environment. I have to go shopping tomorrow or something like that. So you'd be surprised how people move their timelines around where they want a more positive world also. They're not always connecting with that, but they do of what is being sold to them as for the reality. But many are, they're wishing for, yes, a peaceful life for the most part, some not so much, but that's their choice. But still, most of the vibrations is being moved into a more positive timeline. Even if they're not aware of the alien energies, well, they are, but when they come back into body, all of that is forgotten. But some of them are wishing to connect when their vibration is ready for a more galactic connection. We do see that in 10, 20 years. It all depends on many events of your world.
So it doesn't really make sense, even though like disclosure is important to rush. It doesn't make sense to rush humanity into a disclosure or like, a not sighting, but a visitation, because there's a reason why things are the way they are. There's not a wish for ETs, hopefully, to come and, disrupt things, disrupt
Yes.
our the way things go.
Yes.
Enhance, not disrupt, maybe.
The best disclosure is an individual disclosure, when one begins to pick up on their own spirit guides and realize there's much more going on, especially around your children, where that is a fragile subject. You're protecting your children, also realize that also makes you more spiritual also. You're wishing for them to have a positive life. You blend your energies with them. As they connect to their aliens, there's possibility you would connect to your alien friends also, where your guides would just begin to speak to you. It all depends on where you want. And also the knowledge of extraterrestrials isn't fully understood. It does not have to be a ship landing on your planet. Because we are already here. We can connect to your energies anytime you wish.
I know, I see you guys all the time in my pictures.
Yes. Yes, we are everywhere.
I take a picture every day. Are they still there? Are they still there?
Of course, yes. You think your malls are filled? Just look at the higher density levels. Just be like, this place is jammed packed.
Yeah. I show them to my friend. They're like, oh, those are just solar flares.
Those are beings, yes.
That's
but
great.
When someone says that, they're not ready to fully connect. They are not ready. They need much from this dimension. They're still being fueled by it. And when it no longer fulfills them anymore, then they connect more to spirit.
They need their staged approach to get there.
Yes.
Work on their issues, maybe spirituality, and then they're accepting about other stuff.
Yes, when they connect to the Federation, they do allow themselves to, they tell them, I am going to be ready to connect with you soon. I will see you soon. So when they come back into their body, they do have an awakening process they go through. And then they finally connect. But realize we are aware of all of that, and most are not doing that right now. They say, yes, see you soon on Mars or whatever it is.
Whenever that is.
Yes. Most are not doing that because you could be in this body and still connect with us, and most are not fully realizing that. That's the easiest disclosure. That way when our ships land, we are landing with friends instead of, we don't know what we're going to deal with.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's really difficult for a lot of people who are in that spiritual ET disclosure community to believe that, like, a majority of us are not on par with, seeing ETs and stuff. Because you got your Trek fans, Star Trek fans, your Star Wars fans,
Well, yes, many of your
all kinds of stuff.
Your Star Wars fans and your Star Trek fans still see us as fantasy.
Oh, yeah.
See, this is real. Some do, most don't. Well, they do visualize those worlds and their fantasies, but it's like, that's all to them is just a fantasy. Because
we've been programmed that this stuff is fantasy, unfortunately.
But realize that the disclosure program is much more, I would not use the word difficult, but remember, the human has to be clear of negativity for us to fully evolve. Of course, that would be the best way. We've done it other ways when humanity wasn't ready. It did not go so well.
Oh, yeah? Can you give us an example? Or is that Roswell?
Your Billy Meyer mostly was a first contact, and wishing also for a world contact. That was a test. At least from what I am picking up on, and others might see it differently, but they were hoping for that to become more known in humanity and grow across the world, but that did not happen. But they were testing the waters, yes.
And when did that occur? Was that a recent occurrence, or was this, you said his name was Billy Meyer?
Billy Meyer, yes, that was some time ago.
Okay.
You have to look it
very
up on your internet. I don't know how the
Okay,
exact date.
I'll do that right now. Billy Meyer. How long do you think, time frame wise, how close do you think that we are to a visitation? Like 20 years, 30 years, 40, 15?
It all depends on the vibrations of your Earth. Yeah, I've realized that some have said, one moment. One moment. What we see is 30 to 40 years as for closer to contact.
Mm-hmm.
Humanity is going to start realizing that we truly exist.
Right.
They're not ready at this time. And then after that, it will slowly, I don't know, evolve into your cultures, is what we see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as for, still many are not ready. Much has to be calmed down here for us to be fully understood. We do see that, but it will be some time. One moment.
Luckily, there have been sightings. I know that there was one at above Wright Patterson Air Force Base. It looked kind of like a ship. Was that an Arcturian ship or?
It feels like Pleiadian.
Okay, and then there's like
there's actually a canine species on that ship, actually.
A canine species? Oh, yes. That's awesome. I just think of my dog. So, and there's been a lot in what's considered Latin America as well. Yes. I'm pretty sure more other places, but I say Latin America because it's in the Western Hemisphere, Southern. Like, I know I've seen one in Mexico. There was like a ship or some sort emanating out of a volcano or a mountain.
Yes. That happens all the time. Yes. Usually they're not seen, but sometimes they are. Yes.
Usually, and what kind of being was that?
They judge the energies. Oh, that is more Arcturian. From what you're picking up, that is Arcturian. But usually it's Lyran that is connecting to those areas, but Arcturians seem to go in those volcanic areas. They're at high vibrations.
Is that because of the Lyrans do a lot of stuff with Earth as it is, like with our seas and stuff? So they also do stuff.
Yes, Arcturians are involved with that also. Yes.
Okay, that is good. I know somebody who some time ago had a sighting when he was captain of a big luxury cruise line, and he saw basically a ship that did not look like it was a human ship out in the ocean, and he didn't pick up it wasn't on the radar, but when I think he tipped it off, it responded, but it was not on the radar.
Yes.
Was that a Lyran ship?
That was Arcturian also.
Arcturian? Okay.
He's very busy here.
Yeah, he'll be happy now. He didn't say anything to anybody. He's like, I don't want people to take out my license or go after me.
There was felines, yes. There were Lyrans on that ship, though. Yes.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
That would become more common, but understand another Roswell will not awaken your humanity. Yes, it will in some areas. Your UFO community will go crazy for it. But other than that, it will not awaken your humanity. It will stay asleep. It's because of fear.
Yeah.
It will bring fears that they don't want to know. They'd rather go on their daily lives of watching their televisions. And many are trying to feed themselves also. So they put more concern in things that are important to them than if there's millions in your world. As for a spiritual connection, though, when they realize that spirituality can make your day a better day and also help you manifest what you wish to connect with. When that is finally understood, that you can finally manifest, it is said here and there, but still there's much negativity within the soul, which does not allow these manifestations to fully flow through the body. When your culture begins to tap into that and realize that is how you bring things to you. But also, what is needed for some wish, yes, a Corvette or something, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But more of things that are important, the most important, will be easier to connect to. More
I'm
important.
going to have to go to a real quick break, if you do not mind. About 2 minutes. About
yes, I'll have to.
1 minute. I will return.
Yes, before we exit, we do have a message. Ah, yes. Not to worry about your men in black. Yes, they are quite, yes, amusing at times, so not to worry about them. They are here to keep your vibration low, yes. But understand also, they are, yes, deeply controlled, but nothing to worry about. They do bring fear to those they connect to, but the only reason is so they can forget about their extraterrestrial connection. Yes, you are back. That was quicker than I thought. Or maybe you're not back.
I'm back.
I'm going to have to be leaving soon also. So if there's anything.
Okay. I would just like any last messages that you have for us at this time would be great.
Yes, I was just discussing about the men in black, how not to put worry into their energies, but also they do have many. Sometimes they bring out information that is known, that is not usually known in your humanity. It depends on what kind of day they are having, though. But they will disclose certain information about your shadow elites, where they are allowed to bring up, such as, one moment. Now we do, but to give you an idea of what is going on between your public government and your shadow government, is that we do see a thin line between the two of them, where more of your shadow elites will become, your shadow government will become more known in your humanity. Not soon, but it's getting closer to becoming more known. Your humanity is not ready for it, but it is becoming, you can say it's rising from the ground, you can say.
That's great.
But that would be some time. But it depends on your humanity. If they're going to have fear, it will not show. Once they release the fear, then they will know more of the disclosures of their aliens. But understand, as it rises, there's one way of at least giving you imagery. As it rises, there will be many coming out as for disclosing their lives down in the shadow of the underground governments. And this will help your people begin to realize this is truly happening. As your whistleblowers, as more come out, your humanity, we do see your humanity. Yes, it will have fear, but also intrigue, and also they will begin to start understanding what is going on. That is part of your disclosure project. That's all I have. Yes.
Thank you very much, Nathaniel.
Yes.
I really appreciate the time that you spent with us on Off the Deep End. It was very enlightening, and I'm sure it's going to be beneficial to many. And we're going to send this off to Mr. Jeff Bezos, and hopefully he will take this information and apply it positively.
Yes. Much love to you. I understand there's other beings also you can connect to. I will give you a whole nother direction on what I just said, which is good.
All right. Well, if they want to come and say something, they're welcome to.
Much love.
Thank you, Nathaniel. Much love.
Yes. Well, greetings.
That was great.
Good to hear.
I appreciate it. I have to do my outro real quick, so I'm going to